Well. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Let's Talk About Itself. I know, before you get started. Yes, the time is 7:30. Yes, I know. Yes, I know we normally have it at 7 o'clock. But you know what? I was busy with the pep rally. Life be life and though. But we're going to get into it because I got some people on here that I know you want to talk to. Yes, you do. I know you do because I know you want to know what the results are, right? So I'm gonna first bring up Mr. Rodney Lee because yesterday he couldn't talk, but today Mr. Rodney Lee is on. Give me a shout out, Rodney Lee.
You all. Thank you all. I appreciate it so much. Thank you. Thank you.
So, Rodney, tell us about your
Rodney.
campaign, or tell us about yourself.
So, yes, the campaign went amazing. Actually, I almost tripled the amount of votes that I received the first time I ran for office. And so I was very extremely excited for that. We were only 62 votes away from what I set as a bar. And that was something that extremely was encouraging. And so we're looking for we're looking forward to some amazing things preparing to happen, and we're already getting boots on the ground. I have meetings that are getting ready to begin end of this month, and we have plans in place to ensure that we encourage the voters to come out and continue this process of checking us out, researching us, and supporting us. So we're excited. We really are excited about what's about to happen.
Awesome, awesome.
Well, I gotta get my sister from another mother on here because yesterday, there was no boys on here and we were just having all kind of fun. So let me bring on Miss Trista Wilford, who is JP Denton, Precinct 3. Come on, Miss Lady.
Hey, everybody. Glad to be back. It was a crazy night last night. Did not go to sleep till 2 o'clock in the morning. I did not have a primary, but I was so anxious about the numbers. And I had a goal, and I exceeded my goal, but I got over the Republicans, I had almost 800 more votes than them. And overall, I had 200 or 2,664 votes more than Curbo, who's my opponent. And I'm a first time runner. So that's pretty good. Pretty
Congratulations.
good. Thank you. I am super, super excited. And I know Willie did very good. I know all the JPs did really, really good. And we did better than our opponents. Well, our opponents in November, but yeah, excited to be here. Excited about last night. Sad about some people, but that's how it is, right?
Hmm.
So, y'all, we have a first timer on here. So we're gonna be nice, Dale. We're gonna be nice to him because he is part of the Denton County crew. Y'all, we be turning stuff into the Denton crew. But I got Will Robertson, who is running for JP's in the house tonight. And he's running for Denton County, JP, Justice of Peace 4. So when you get that speeding ticket, hey, Will, if I get a speeding ticket, please take care of me. I'm just saying, I'm
Yeah,
just kidding.
yeah,
Just kidding.
we'll have to see. I don't see you as a person that speeds very much.
I
Very,
know. I
seem
think I'm
very law
trapped.
abiding. Well, thank you for having me. I'm glad I can make it. This weather is starting to impact my internet a little bit, so I had to try a couple different methods. But yes, last night was so exciting. It being my first race, also, even without a candidate going against me, I was up until 2 a.m. watching everyone else's race, right? Seeing how the numbers fell, seeing them slowly trickle in, and obviously comparing ourselves to our Republican opponents that will be coming in November. Um, but yeah, it was an amazing turnout just across the board as far as primaries. Like, I think we have record-setting numbers for almost every single category. at least in the last 3 decades. So I'm excited to see what momentum we can take forward with us in November. And I think this country is to be in a much different place in November. And I think that's going to aid the Democratic Party into not only getting a power of transition back, but getting people who are first-time runners and people who are trying to come in with different perspectives a chance to actually make a difference for their communities. So I'm excited, and I'm amongst great people to do it with.
Mhm. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm just totally excited to have all of y'all on here. It's like, wow. I'm just overly just thrilled. Dell, you had 65,000 people that voted for you. Over 65,000 people.
That's amazing.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. Good job.
Yeah, it was very exciting to see the turnout. There was apparently more votes for me in my primary than the turnout for my opponent. So that's very exciting to see. This is my fourth time being on the ballot. This is my first time not having an opponent while being on the ballot. But just looking at the sheer numbers is very awesome to see. And I believe that the seat is truly flippable. And I believe we can flip the Denton County Commissioner's Court. So I'm looking forward to it.
Mhm.
I see it across the board, to be quite honest.
Yeah. Oops. I'm playing around with the controls a little bit there, but Steph,
I do
are
too.
you okay? You look like you might be a
Playing
little bit
around
frozen.
with it.
So okay, all right. So what's the first topic you want to bring up, Steph? Oh, Steph.
Oh, you know we're gonna talk about these results right here. I mean, oh my goodness. Are y'all happy? I
For the
mean,
most
Yeah,
part,
are y'all happy?
yeah.
I'm happy with the turnout, and I see one interesting race in particular was Congressional District 26. I would want to call both Ernest Lineberger and Stephen Shook. I want to call them both winners because that was a very, very, very tight margin. I believe it was something like less than 1 percentage point of a difference
yeah.
between the two. I was personally kind of shocked, as Ernest Lineberger has run for office in the past, and Stephen Shook is a first-time candidate. So, but it was a very close race. It was a very high turnout. And also, with James Tellerico winning, we now do know who will be, in fact, going up against our nominee. And, that was a tough one for me emotionally because I loved both Jasmine Crockett and James Tellerico. If anything, I felt it was a shame that they were taking each other on. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
I 100% agree. I think we're going to lose one or the other, and it's a shame. It's a shame.
I think even
Yeah.
though that Jasmine didn't obviously continue to the midterms, I think we'll see her back and she'll be in politics and holding office again come the
100.
next cycle for sure. So I think that this race might not have been hers, but that doesn't mean that the next one isn't.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. I think that it was I hated that they had to run against one another, but now we're looking forward to November.
Yeah. I can say it like this here. That was, y'all know the craziest thing, which we talked about this on the show, is about Dallas.
Hmm.
Dallas. Allen West is a piece of sugar honey iced tea.
I just
He
met
really,
him recently. Not nice.
well, I'm trying to be nice. I have to be a little bit nice, but
Hmm.
I don't know how long I'm gonna do that. But how in the world, all these years, these people been having countywide voting in Dallas County, and you wait in the middle of January and to say, "Oh yeah, we're gonna make y'all go to your precinct on election day," but then you don't update it with the state. and then you don't update it with your county. So the people don't know where they're supposed to go vote at. There's a huge problem with that. So I don't even think I haven't kept up with the news because I've been busy today, but I don't even know if they even counted those votes that was after 7 p.m. Because
They
I know it
didn't.
was talk.
They didn't. The Supreme Court, the Texas Supreme Court, so Judge Jenkins was one that extended it to 9 o'clock. The Supreme Court, the Texas Supreme Court, overruled that. So Jasmine Crockett, my understanding, is going to sue them, and she should.
She should. She should because here's the thing though. That's not the only person that was on that ballot.
No.
Right.
You done screwed up everybody else's whoever they voted for. They could have voted for Jasmine, and they could have voted for the judges and all of that was going on. That whatever was on that ballot, y'all took those people votes away from them, and y'all made it to where their votes didn't matter. Their votes were so powerful till y'all took it away,
Mm-hmm.
and you shame on you, and you should be sued. And I'm like this here. You know what? I think they should sue the Republican Party. I think they should do it.
I personally think that while we can sue them, it won't do any good. It's not to change their tactics. It's not to change the things that they've been doing. We need to take that effort and that energy and push it towards getting people in the polls sooner so that we can avoid their dirty tricks to begin with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I still
absolutely.
think you just sue them. at least for this particular situation. And somebody was talking, it's like the government changed the rules, then they changed the rules again in their favor, then they changed them this way. It was like the government doing all of this against the people. It's just another way of gerrymandering. And they 100%, they need to take it outside of the Texas if they can. Because I'm not a lawyer, but a Texas Supreme Court, take it to another one and have it overturned. It is unacceptable that people's votes are not counted because the government changed the way that they had to vote at the last minute and didn't inform them, like you had said.
Yeah, that's just wrong. It's just wrong. But I don't know. I'm gonna let Jasmine handle her business on that, and I'm quite sure she will. And you are absolutely right. That is not the last that we have heard from Jasmine Crockett. And right now, we're gonna have to. She already conceded to him, and so now we just have to pull all our effort and support Tallarico win. So I think they have a runoff on the Republican side.
They do.
Mm-hmm.
And Trump endorsed Cornyn, so I think that's really good because more people aren't going to vote for him because he endorsed them. Whoever he endorses usually loses, so that was great.
Oh, I didn't know that Trump endorsed already. Okay, that
Yeah.
must have just happened today.
You know what, Dale, I could not tell you because, like I said, I was up till 2 o'clock in the morning. Then I had to get up and work. I'm working on 3 brain cells today. I don't remember what day it was. I want to say it was this morning.
Yeah, I believe it was.
That's interesting. That's very interesting because
Him and Paxton.
yeah, but Paxton is kind of more of a Trumper than Corn is. I mean, relatively speaking. So that's interesting.
Begging Trump and doing everything he can to be Trump-like.
Hmm.
I think at the end of the day, it's about the numbers, and Trump is so afraid of losing Texas because if he loses Texas, bye.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think the Democrats will probably impeach Trump if they gain power. And there's
Oh, 100%.
several, there's several different ways to go about that to claim that there are high crimes and misdemeanors. For example, declaring an illegal war. Right? He's trying to get away with this by not claiming that it's a war, while simultaneously many of his members call it a war. Right? So I believe that's an impeachable offense right there on its face.
I believe that the stack of impeachable offenses is so high that we just need to take our pick. Because honestly, it's like I sit here and we talk about the gerrymandering of the voter fraud and the voter manipulation and all the things, and I'm not shocked. These are the things that made me want to step up to run for office. These are the things that put me in the position that I am, because um, up until this past year, like, I believe we've been too weak on them as the Democratic Party. And I'm very excited to see what we do midterms. I think that specifically here in Denton County, our biggest fights to be getting behind Stephen Shook in District 26 and making sure that we unseat Brandon Gill.
100%.
Yeah.
So,
Rodney, what are your thoughts on all this and everything that's going on?
My thing, as I tell the voters, is simply this: um, everything Trump has done seemingly would have been the litmus test to say why he's not fit for office. But I told someone, you got to keep in mind though, this gentleman, and we say it was the lowest of all time. This gentleman still was commanding 38 to 40% of the of America, saying he's our guy. So I caution people on making that your tactic. What I often tell persons is, to the average voter, explain to them how choosing you will make their life better. What is it about you that you bring to improve the lifestyle of the person who's giving you their voice? Because if we can't answer that question, I mean, we can go on for days and days and days and days and talk about all the atrocities that Trump has pulled in America. But there's still 40% of the people who are saying that's our guy. That's a large number when you look at it in reference to America. So while I don't subscribe to dismissing these things that he's done inappropriately. I don't see that as the main focus. The main focus needs to be, what have you and what can you do for me now? Because if you can't answer that question, then the question then becomes, why are you running? What is it that you're running for? So that's the reason why our campaign is focused on the fact that these are the things that we're doing to improve the lives of our community. Because they see the same TV, they go to the same grocery store, and there are persons who are supporting Trump who are voting against their very own interest. You have to ask the question, why? What is motivating them to sabotage themselves to choose somebody who obviously does not care about their lifestyle?
I've asked them and I don't like the answer.
And what was the answer you received?
Honestly, they were racist. They flat out said they were racist.
Hmm.
But that was
Wow.
more important to them than they knew Trump was bad. They knew everything he was doing was wrong, but they were racist and they loved what he was doing. Loved what he was doing.
Yeah,
So
when I asked that question to one of my family members who leans right to center, she's like a one-issue voter. She basically just cares about being pro-life. And then another one of my family members was previously a one-issue voter because she just cared about her guns. She cared about her guns so much, so she would just vote for a Republican every time. She did switch over though, because she's a lesbian, and her wife told her to knock it off with all the anti-LGBT stuff that's going on. So now my sister-in-law has switched over to the Democratic side of the aisle. But it's interesting because my other family member who voted for Trump every time, recently she said to me, like in a private conversation, she's like, Dale, you think I'm a Republican, but I don't respect the Republican Party. I just vote conservative. That's a very weird statement for her to give, but I think it's because she sees what's going on, and while she voted for Trump, I don't think she's getting what she wanted out of Trump anymore. So
right.
I don't
I
know.
hear
I don't know if sorry.
I said I hear that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, but Rodney, you asked a very good question. What can the candidate do when elected to better the lives of their constituents? And since the three of y'all are all running to be judges for the courts of the justice of the peace, I guess I'll forward that question on to you, Will. What is and you, Trista, as the judge of the court of the justice of the peace, how can you make people's lives better?
So, Dale, you know as far as well as I do that in our positions, we are supposed to be bipartisan, right? It shouldn't be a partisan position.
Correct.
And we're supposed to be enforcing the laws in which the legislation that we pass in Congress and House, all these things, um, tell us to do and how to do our jobs and how to enforce the laws. And we've seen here in Denton County those people directly go against those laws and incorporate their own views from wherever they come from, if it's religion, morals, what have you. And I think that we need people like ourselves who are willing to know the community, who are willing to follow the laws and make sure that they're done justly and with compassion. Because with justice of peace, we have such a wide range of duties that I believe that if you can't approach that with justice, compassion, and common sense, and I really struggle with trusting that those are the things that the people who are still proudly saying that they're endorsed by Trump are holding high in their own lives. So, as a candidate, that's what I will bring. I was a Marine Corps veteran. Honor, courage, commitment are the ethos I still live by, and the community is what I want to take care of.
I guess for me, listen, 51% of the people, and I've said this often, and Miss Stephanie has heard this before, 51% of the people live in my district. Of those persons, if I summons them to come to court, they lose income. And so we have to first and foremost make that court accessible not to some, but to all. And one of the things I told someone is, listen, I'm going to follow the law, not a political agenda. And so I agree with Will that yes, it needs to be bipartisan. It needs to be nonpartisan, matter of fact. Because when you come into my courtroom, I dare not ask you what party you were under, or what party did you vote for. It really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, persons want to know when they come into that courtroom that they have an equal fighting opportunity to win their case if they produce proper evidence. And so I have to maintain that. Also, the thing, one of the things, and I use the word explore because people are tired of empty promises, fabricated promises, trumped up promises. And so, what I tell people is that once in office, I want to explore something. And I want to talk to the citizens because it may be a great idea for me, but it may not be one that they want to receive. And one of the ideas is that it has always baffled me how it is that we are pulling students from school to talk about why they don't go to school and fine them if they don't follow our instructions and attend school. That's really crazy to me. And so my thought process, and again, this is not something I've said first day I'm going to enact. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm going to explore this. But what I would like to do, or what I think is the more reasonable thing to do, is if you can't go to school Monday through Friday, then you got to come see me on a Saturday. That
Hmm.
means I'm going to take your Saturday away from you because you had ample opportunity to do what you're supposed to. And since you can't make that commanding decision, I'll make it for you. And so if the citizens agree with me, then yes, we will enact that. We would enact that policy. I think one of the major problems is that they're not bridging the gap. And when I say they, it's not an intelligence quarter thing. It's the fact that we haven't done a good job with really, really, really explaining how the justice of peace affects everyone's day-to-day lifestyle. That's on us. We
Mhm.
must make sure that we educate the public of why it's important that you choose someone like us that can make good judgment because many of them don't even know in terms of credit card fraud. Listen, MasterCard, I just use them as an example. If they file in our courtroom and you don't answer that summons, guess what? MasterCard just won. Or let's say, for instance, you have a parent who, and I do have one like this, and so you have a parent who's suffering from mental illness, and yet I know what it looks like when you're seeing someone who's trying to grasp and hold on to their independence, and yet you've got to make a decision as it relates to the facts that are presented before you. You need someone who's in place who's able to not only make that judgment, but who understands the spirit of what we're really trying to get done here. It's not just about always the letter of the law, because there are some ambiguous things in the law, and it has to go to the fact that you must understand also the spirit of the law. Why is it that we want to, for instance, something as simple as truancy? Why is it then that in this country we are literally bringing persons to court because they don't attend school? Well, it's because we understand that education is the bedrock of success. And if we don't start putting that out there and explaining it to where the points that the lay person can understand this, then why should they choose you? And so that's the reason why I spend a great deal of time doing a lot of education, because it's about one, making it accessible, and then definitely making myself viable for those persons who need someone like myself who has good judgment. It's vitally important.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It also reminds me how I think I heard of another candidate I thought was talking about potentially having night court. But Trista, I'll pass the question off to you. What are you going to do as the judge of your courtroom to better people's lives?
Well, you said night court. That's definitely in my agenda. Uh, to go back to being fair and being different, why someone would vote for me. I have literally experienced, I haven't had to go to court, but I've experienced having a child that dealt with truancy. And it was a weird situation. She had surgery and had missed a certain amount of time. And Texas schools are very weird about it. So she ended up getting in that truancy situation. So with truancy, I want to work with the students. I love the way Rodney said it with that Saturday school. I want to get ahead of it. I want to work with the schools that they can tell, they can identify kids that are kind of struggling, find out what's going on, find out if there's something going on at home. You don't know what's going on in someone's home, why they're not attending. So it's, for me, it's preventative. Try to prevent it before it gets there. Night court is definitely something I have talked about, and it goes back to my days when I was a single mom. There were a lot of times I couldn't miss work. And for someone to have to miss work, especially when you have people who are paid hourly or they work fast food jobs or they work three jobs,
Sure.
giving that opportunity for night court, and it would be an experiment. Would it be once a week? Would it be, twice a month? It would be something that I would have to experiment with just to see what that need is, because I don't know what it is right now. And then the other one is with the evictions. I, again, as a single mother, I have empathy for these people. Yes, you have to follow the law. I have empathy for these people. When I mean these people, I mean the people being evicted and the people who are actually there to evict them. People have to pay their bills,
Sure.
but also you can empathize with the people who are about to be evicted. But, my sister actually works in the apartment industry, and I've talked to her a lot about it. By the time somebody comes to court and they're being evicted, they have been there for quite a long time without paying rent. So you really have to evaluate the situation. So I just go back. My personal experience just brings in a different way of how I would empathize with people, work with people, all by following the law as well.
Absolutely.
Let me just add something here that many people don't often speak about. Um, I've had 30 years of experience in this era here, uh, producing truancy court. I retired juvenile probation officer. Now I'm preparing to retire in November as the truancy officer. One of the things that we have, and I don't mean anyone particularly on this stream, but one of the things that we've done is we have made persons believe that a GED is a death sentence. That anyone who's watching, let me say to you first and foremost, it's not.
It isn't.
Life happens, and there are those who, quite frankly, because of life or bad decisions, you name it, will have to eventually get a GED. What I spend my time telling folks is simply this, though, is that did you understand that if you get your GED, you go to, say, Tarrant County College, you do 9 hours, and let's say you continue on because you'll do 9 hours remedial classes, but then you continue and you get your associate's degree. Guess what question they're not going to ask you? They're not going to ask you, "Hey, did you really get a GED?" That conversation would never come up. And here's why I know it would never come up, because I'm an adjunct professor at Tarrant County College. And I think, Stephanie, you may have heard this before. I put on the board 199 out of 199. I sit there and I tell my students, hey, write down what you think that means. And they write all these wonderful answers. Man, that's perfect. Man, you did absolutely great. You were top of the class. I mean, you just go on, and I'm just sitting there looking at them. Then I stand up and I said, well, thank you all. Now, what if I told you that was my class ranking? All of a sudden, jaws drop. And I tell them, because I preface it by saying, guys, I have my master's degree. I got 3.8 when I had my master's degree and was a little bit irritated because I thought I should have had a 4.0. And so I say to them, what is the difference? The difference is real simple. It's education. Somebody has to sign off on that diploma, but they're signing that diploma saying that you have been educated. And so I tell folks, I have a master's degree, but I do not equate to the idea that that master's degree automatically makes me a success. No, it just means that I had to go through the requirements for whatever occupation I chose. And so if you want to do what I do, you have to get the level of education or of schooling that I received. But I have buddies who are electricians, mechanics, and what have you that are considered blue collar workers. Guess what? They make in excess of 200,000 some odd dollars. You're telling me that that person is not educated? And if you're saying no, then I tell you, then find an uneducated mechanic and let him work on your car. Let's see what happens.
Hmm. That's a
Yeah.
good question. That's a good question. So let's move on from that. So thank y'all for that segment. We're gonna roll into something that I heard Will say that he's military, ex-retired military. He don't even look young enough to be retired, but okay,
Not
we'll go.
retired.
We'll go with it, Will. But how are y'all feeling with what's going on overseas?
Well, it's illegal.
Yeah.
Also, Chris, if you want to turn your camera on, we'll have you join the stage because I see Chris Waddell is backstage. But yeah, it's just straight up illegal, right? Correct me if I'm
Yeah.
wrong. Somebody?
No, yeah.
No, I,
It's
I
illegal.
agree with you. Yeah, it is illegal.
Where
It's
is the
active war.
Congress? Where is the Congress? I don't even know. It's like, why are they even there? They're doing nothing to stop them.
And I
And
think
Stephanie
that's
and I,
what the tragedy is.
I'm sorry, Rod, I didn't mean to talk over you. Stephanie and I were actually talking about it because we were talking about Venezuela and how he went and took that guy. That guy was a bad guy. We absolutely agree with that. Not Trump's job. The stuff that's going on in Iran. What? I don't even know. It is out of control what that man is doing, and nobody is putting him in check.
Mhm.
You look at
Well,
any other president, they do one little thing wrong and they attack him. And this guy just does whatever the hell he wants all day long, all night long. It's unbelievable.
well, and
I
I go
think
to
like with his whole administration should have been removed when they had the leaking information. That right there, as a wife of somebody that's retired and a mother of someone that's active, that just blew my mind. I'm like, oh my God, why would you? Of First of all, why are you using what was that WhatsApp?
Signal.
Signal.
Mhm.
Signal? Okay, either one of those. Why are you using that to discuss something that's supposed to be very, 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 I mean, very secure? Your grandmama shouldn't even know what's going on.
No.
Nobody should know when we flying, how we flying, who we can get. This stuff is secret, and you did it on a third party line that anybody could hack into. I don't trust no phones. If it's not secure, don't do it.
And then
Well,
they brought in
here's something my grandmother used to tell me. When a person show you who they are, believe it. Here's the deal: if we pay close attention, Donald Trump has not shown us anything that we have not seen before. Think about the hiring of his cabinet. He has chosen persons who are, quote, not professionals at it, and it's demonstrating itself. He has chosen persons who cater to his whims. He's done that in the past. We're talking about well before he even started running for office. He has an ego. He's demonstrated that. What's not happening? Persons are not paying attention. And so what's really going on is that we have, and it bugs me, and I don't mind calling this person out. Here it is. You have a state senator who he talked about his wife like a dog,
Okay.
and yet you're licking his boots. Listen, I have some very good friends, very good friends. But if you dare speak about my wife or my family that way, I can already tell you, number one, we're not going to be friends, and number two, we're going to touch every wall in the building as soon as we see each other. And so the
On
deal is
point.
simply this: is that it's bigger than this. It's bigger than this. One of the scariest things to me, and people are like, "Woo," because I'm a historian. I love history. One of the scariest things to me is to watch the things that are playing out, and then I am looking at the History Channel, and the playbook is the same when Hitler got into office. Go back and watch. The same thing going through the church, the same thing. Uh, we don't want to be tainted. The same thing in terms of costing people on the street. There has not been a new playbook on this. The problem is we're not paying attention. And so while we are, and please hear me, I don't have a problem with people marching. I don't have a problem with people protesting. But look at what they're coming after. They're not coming after you protesting. They're not coming after you marching. They're coming after your vote because they understand the real power to this whole mechanism is your vote. So they give you permits to let you march. They give you permits to let you protest. But then they come out and they do all these atrocious things to hinder your ability to vote. I spent all day yesterday running from one poll to another poll to another polling site just to keep people in line so that they would vote. So we have to pay
Yeah.
attention. Donald Trump is not doing anything new. He's shown us who he is. He is just disguising it in different methods, but he's already shown us who he is.
Yeah, absolutely. Trista, by the way, I was getting a little bit of feedback from you, so I hit the mute button on you, but just unmute yourself when you want to speak. And I'll also pass this over to Will, because, Will, if you were still in the military right now, how would you be feeling, given that we just saw, I believe it was 4 deployed individuals are now dead, Americans?
I have a lot of feelings about this. I have a lot of anger about this, about how, look, when it comes down to it, Rodney's right. We know exactly who Donald Trump is. We know exactly the kind of president he's going to be, and that is an egotistical, maniacal, self-indulged one. I don't believe, I would actually even say that it's not about the vote. It's about the fear they're trying to instill in us. They were letting some people march, but they were also shooting citizens in the street during those protests.
Mhm.
They were using their privatized military, which is ICE, to attack our citizens when we were expressing our First Amendment. Then when we expressed our Second Amendment, they killed him.
Mhm.
So I think it's fear. There's fear on both sides, right? There's fear from Donald Trump and all of the things that are coming out with the list and everyone else who is trying to protect themselves that's on that list. And I don't think that he will stop at anything to distract us and make us more afraid as a country. He is using a repeat of other people's plays. This is early 2001, except for instead of actually having an attack on American soil, he's just making it up. He's just doing what he wants because we have shown multiple times as a country that we don't have a system of checks and balances.
Mhm.
We don't have a system in which he is going to be held responsible or liable. And he is the most anti-military president I believe we've ever had. Not only is he a draft dodger, but he is using military members as pawns to distract from his own issues.
Definitely.
And every person, every cabinet member, Pete Hegseth, the first one, need to be taken out of their position and be prosecuted. Because that's what they called for when we had Benghazi with Hillary. And look, I was calling for it too. I was upset then. And that's the thing, is the hypocriticalness that we see on both, like from the right side, and the way that the goalposts constantly move because of the cognitive dissonance that they ooze. And that, I'm upset. I have goosebumps right now, Dale. That's how I feel. I am just, it is hard for me not to sit over here and just nod in agreement the entire time that you guys are speaking, because it's all true. And he is doing every tactic he can, and he will not stop at anything less than nuclear war.
Mm.
He will push us to the brink because the only person he cares about is himself. And he knows that if we're going down, or if he's going down, he wants to take everyone else down with him. He doesn't care.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You know,
it's really
that's something that Trish and I was talking about yesterday. Is that I told her, I said he's acting like a an abuser, and I've said that many of times. He
Mhm.
acts straight up like someone that is harming their spouse, right? He isolates you from people that could help you.
Mhm.
He takes away your money so you can't even afford to go do what you need to do to run away or to protect yourself from him, you know, and he says stuff that's emotionally he emotionally abused you, and next is going to be physical. So he's okay, and physical is what's going on with our soldiers. How dare you put our soldiers' life on the line to save your dumb ass from the Epstein file, because that's what it all boils down to. We all know that you're a nasty man. We all know that you're a nasty man and you have done nasty things. But you know what? We might not be able to prosecute you in this lifetime, but I know somebody that's have more power and they'll be able to prosecute you. And you already know it because you already said you're going to hell. I mean, that's exactly where you're gonna go. God has the last word, you know. But at this point right here, Will, thank you for your service. My heart goes out to you because you know what? You physically fit that fool will try to call you back in. You
You know,
know?
I both of my little brothers have served also. One has recently left the Marine Corps, and which I was very proud of because I was a Marine myself. And then the other is currently in the Army, active duty, and his contract has a couple more years. And he called me the other day asking me like, "Hey, I'm nervous that he is going to get us deployed and we're going to get killed." And
Mhm.
so I had to talk to him about those feelings because there had been times where I felt similar ways during my time.
Mhm.
And it is disgusting because as a family, we're sitting here and we're talking about like the potential of a draft because of these kind of issues, right? And I was like, we should be sending ICE over. They should be the first ones.
Right.
They want to go and do all the things that they want to do and play soldier in the streets of America. They need to go whenever there's an actual enemy.
Yeah. That's
Well,
his personal point. So I
and
agree with you.
you know what's sad because and I thank you all for your service, and I'm speaking as a veteran who's 22 years in it, who retired at 22 years in the military. I tell people we fought so that you could make those ridiculous decisions. I mean, let's just be honest about it. I didn't like every company commander I had. I didn't like every captain that I served under. Quite frankly, I didn't like every president I served under. But I had a call to duty, and that's where we're missing this thing. What is your purpose here? What is the purpose for what is your existence in this community? What is your existence and what you're doing? We've seemingly has lost that. That everybody's doing what they feel is right in their own eyes. And as a result, we're so doggone divided. It used to be a time that running as a Republican, a Democrat, or what have you, there was some characteristics about you. Now you can't really tell because it depends on who you're speaking to. And if they disagree with you, now it becomes very volatile. And that's a problem. That's a major problem. Because at the end of the day, we all live in America. Period. And so we've got to get back to where it's okay for you to disagree with me. What's not okay is for you to take a gun and go to a school because you don't know how to control yourself and shoot some kids who actually had nothing to do with this. It's not okay to even go to various places such as public buildings, and all of a sudden now, because you want to provide some resistance, you start taking lives. That's not okay. That's not okay whatsoever. And the average citizen, let me just say to you all, please hear me. You have got to make us earn this position. I had a gentleman say to me, and he meant it as a compliment, and I received it as such, but I'm big on doing education. He said to me, and I knocked on his door and I was sharing with him what I was running for. And he said, "Man, you had me when I saw the pigmentation of your skin." I said, "Oh, okay, well, thank you." Then I said, may I talk to you for a minute?" He was like, yeah, man, what do you want to say? I said, "Don't let me off that easy. Listen, you don't know if I'm a fool or if I'm a nut. You don't know. So have that conversation with me and put me to the test. Don't allow me to come off that easy." And there's the problem. The reason why some of these decisions, the reason why we have a Donald Trump back in office, the reason why we have a Tim O'Hara and all these people is because we've let them get into office. It's as simple as that. We have done all these wonderful rallies and what have you, and how is it that only 16 to 25% of the people in this big old doggone county voted? That's a problem. And so I say to anyone looking, listen to me. Your vote matters. Do not cheapen it. Make us earn your trust. Make us earn it. Because I
Can I
guarantee
add
you,
on?
making us earn it, we'll do it. Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good, Rodney. Exactly what Rodney said. I want to echo that and also add on to we need to do better at getting the average person to these events.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same 20 people that I see over and over and over. And unfortunately, whenever we spend so much time in these circles in which it's just an echo chamber of how we're to make a change and how we're to do better.
Mm-hmm.
But it's 20 people and it's the same. Unfortunately, I'm going to actually reference the congressional race for District 26, and that is we all believed that Ernest, who had been campaigning for over 3 years and had massive name recognition, that would be enough. And it's not. Just like Rodney said, we have to explain to people why we are to make their lives better and be forward about it, because that's how Trump got into office. Even though they were all complete lies, people believed him.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to figure out as a Democratic Party how to get the trust back, because the propaganda against our party has been so strong that we're not going to be able to flip this unless we can break through that. And we can't always do that with fact, because most of us make decisions based on emotion.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a lot to do, and we need to pull together, and I think we can do it. But we got to get the community actually involved.
Well, it sounds like you listened to the podcast from the last week, because that's one of the call to action things that I have said. And I'm going to continue on telling people that you can march, yell, and scream all you want to. Your biggest flex is when you go and get that ballot in your hand and do your thing. That
Mm-hmm.
is your biggest flex. That's when people stop and listen.
Mm-hmm.
Just what happened in Dallas can happen anywhere. It can happen anywhere. So it's so very important that we sit up there, talk to the candidates. We candidates, we got to talk to the people, have that table talk with them, and explain to them what's going on. Listen to what they're having to say, and then we got to have a plan of action on day one. We can't go in there blind saying, "Oh, we're just gonna go ahead and make this money," or whatever the case may be. We're not gonna do anything. We're gonna agree with what they say. And y'all know, like what happened with this 287G, every last one of these Denton County commissioners knows that is the wrong thing to do. You know that they're going to have to, we the people are going to be responsible for paying for this. No matter what kind of bullcrap that they're saying, we the people are going to be the ones that's going to have to pay for that 287G. We're going to be there. So vote, y'all. We got to November 3rd. Volunteer. Help these candidates. Do phone bank. Donate, because these campaigns are not cheap. They're not cheap, y'all. I got to get signs now. They're not cheap. Y'all help them. Help us. Because the only way that we can wind up turning Texas from red, and it's actually not red, I think it's leaning towards purple, one of my favorite colors. We got to do the right thing by going to go vote. We got to get people registered to vote. And those people that did not vote for the primary, we got to have a conversation with them. We can't keep saying, oh, you know what, we're just going to keep pushing forward. No, we need to have a conversation. Y'all go to your people in your family and ask them, did you vote in this primary?
Yeah,
Well, and
absolutely.
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to add on to that where you said, I don't think we're a red state. I said this before, and that might sound like a broken record, but I want to tell everyone that we do not live in a red state. We live in a non-voting state where only half the population is registered to vote, and of those, only half of them even show up to the voting booth. So it's really important that we get people involved. I've done door knocking before in the past, and I am no longer shocked anymore because I'm used to it. But initially, when I first started block walking, I was shocked to find that a lot of people didn't even know that elections were happening, particularly in the primaries. And I expect that for runoff elections, but I noticed that in the primaries. But I'll also pass this over to Chris. So Chris is our vice president of the Frisco Democratic Club that I saw joined us. What are your thoughts, Chris?
Is he on? Okay.
No, okay. Now, my thoughts of you mean voter turnout?
Well, just over anything.
Yeah, no, I I agree. I agree. And the thing is that um, the non-voter block is the biggest block there is. Other than any race, ethnicity block. So that's something that needs to be paid attention to. And just go back to the 24 election. I mean, there was 90 million people that did not vote. So, and I've got to think that there was about 2 million that who if they had voted, we have a different president. We may have the House, the Senate. So yeah, so I totally agree. The non-voting population is something that we need to take time to reach out to, and now's a great time because now we have time to, talk to those people, let them know about the upcoming election, and then just by doing that, I think we'd be surprised at how they could work out for us. So that's my thoughts on voting, and then like everybody else, I mean, what's happening with Iran and what's happening in our foreign policy is just an abject, I don't know, just abject mess. And I think one thing historically we need to realize is that it just didn't start with Trump. I mean,
Right.
our foreign policy has been an abject mess the last 60 to 70 years. I mean, this whole like colonization thing we've had, that our history, it doesn't work. It hasn't worked. So that's something that we need to seriously, think about and and turn away from. I mean, because honestly, we're not going to colonize Iran. That's not happening. And I know that's Netanyahu's fever dream. He thinks he's entitled to the whole Middle East based on a God-given ordainment, but that's not true. And that's one thing that we have to really, let people know that, and what the media propagandizes, that Israel is the be all end all, and you have to cater to Israel, or else you're not biblical. And modern day Israel is nothing biblical about that. So Those are some of my thoughts.
Well, let me put. I was talking to a young person Sunday at an event I was at, and I asked her a very pointed question. Then I asked my daughter the same question. These are young people in their 20s, and I said, "Hey, I'm just curious. As a candidate, why aren't y'all more interested in politics than you are?" And so the first young lady said it to me, and it didn't shock me, but I was like, "Thank you for your brutal honesty." She said, "Number one," she said, "because we can't afford houses, we're living with our parents, and your generation is telling us, well, I did it, you should be able to do it." And when she said those words, that's what caught my attention. I was like, "What? You all constantly tell us, well, I was able to do it. Why can't you do it?"
Different world.
It's a totally different world. When I was coming up through junior high, we didn't have cell phones. Matter of fact, I told her this. I said, we didn't have cell phones. We had a beeper. And I looked at her, I said, "Do you even know what a beeper is?" And she was like, "No." I said, "See, that's my whole point right there. Technology, we didn't have AI that could literally write your paper for you. We didn't have to deal with those types of things. So
We
time
had
as it evolved.
encyclopedias.
I mean, yes, exactly.
Yeah, I
So,
had
so we
them
as
big old
candidates
heavy.
have to evolve.
Each one was about 2 pounds.
But that's the truth. And so I came home and I asked my daughter the same question. And she said, "That's why we don't trust y'all. We don't
Wow.
trust y'all because y'all keep preaching to us, but you're not listening to us." And I say that to say this. Listen to me. I was not a follower of this gentleman. 100% of what he's probably 95%. I don't know. I just didn't agree with this gentleman, and I don't agree that he should have died. But he showed me something that he did. Charlie Kirk went and started talking to these people at the colleges. Now Charlie Kirk was wrong as two left shoes. But guess what he was doing though? He was going there and talking to them, and they felt like they had an audience. They felt like they had somebody who finally listened to them. Now again, I didn't agree. This dude was vile, but I don't think he should let me go on record and say, no, I don't agree with how he died. I don't believe anybody should get shot like that in front of your family. I don't agree with any of that. But why are we taking the principle of go talk to them and listen to what they're saying? That's what we've got to do. Because we're preaching at them, and trust me, they ain't listening.
You know what, Rodney? I have to agree with you. I think we might be around the same age. I'm old as dirt now, but
Well, I ain't gonna say
I
I'm old as dirt.
No.
Dirt pretty old.
feel like this sometimes. But I get what you're saying because I had to learn that also because I have a son that's getting ready to be 30, a 25-year-old, and a 23-year-old. So I had to kind of like change the way how I had a conversation with them. First of all, we have an open dialogue. They can come and talk to me about it and some things I don't want to know, but they know that they're safely can talk to me about anything that they want to talk to me about. I don't care what it is. They know they can talk to me about it, right? But when we were growing up, and if you in the 70s, yeah, or maybe even the 60s too, first of all, you can't talk to your parents about everything because they were busy working. They didn't have time to talk to you because they probably had two jobs
Mhm.
to make sure that they had to take care of home, right? So we basically raised ourselves. So we really didn't have any supervision because they told you at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, get your butt outside and don't come back until the street lights come on.
That's
We
it.
did that. We had to,
Mhm.
I don't know how we made it. We had to survive on our own and drink water
At the hydrant,
out the
yeah.
little thing pipes and stuff, we had to, hey, you got some extra food over there? We really was on Survivor Planet.
Hey,
We
Steph. So
had
you
to.
got
And when
you
you,
got burned on the playground with that metal slide. You
Yeah.
get one.
yes, Wait a minute, getting a splendor on the, getting a splendor. You know, this. Yeah, I can't even tell you half the stuff we did, but we
I
survived, and then we expect our kids to be able to do the same, and we have to realize the world has changed since the
Mhm.
beeper to the payphones. You know,
Mhm.
to them long cars that you had to sneak in your room to be talking on the phone to somebody.
Mhm.
Things have changed, and this new generation, we did not have control over the things that we allowed them to do. You know, because look at the accesses they have to these PlayStations and Lord, I don't know all of them, but they got these PlayStations and stuff, and they get on these games, and you got strangers sitting up there talking to them and influencing our children to do stuff. So, some kind of way, we got to meet them in the middle. We got to listen to what they're saying because they are very smart and
Mhm.
they know right from wrong because we taught them right from wrong.
Mhm.
But we do have to listen to them, and then they also have to be open to listen to what we're saying. We have to stop, like they say, preaching to them. Stop yelling at them.
Mhm.
so
Talk to them.
as someone of that younger generation, I'd like to weigh in on this. Um, I agree and disagree with you. I believe there's a common misconception
Okay.
that progress in technology has made things easier. I don't think things have changed. The progress in technology has, and our advancement in technology has. But the class warfare system that we have in our society is the exact same that makes my sister have 2 jobs and her kids drink from the water hose and have to look after themselves.
Mhm.
These things have not changed. The way that they're implementing it and controlling us has.
Mhm.
Back in the 50s, with the evolution and the invention of the microwave, there was a food scientist in Frisco, Texas, at the Frito-Lay, who really pioneered food science. And with that became the addiction of fast food, of microwavable food, and junk food that has led to American obesity. The
Mhm.
things that the way that they've controlled our propaganda and how they've fed us, the
Yeah.
those mechanisms are different, but the message is the same. And that is, don't attack the top, because if you come after the top, it's going to negatively affect you who are at the bottom. But one day when you're at the top, you'll be better. And
Mhm.
so I think that drastic radicalization that we've seen is exactly what the kids are talking about. Most people in their 30s, like I am, don't own a home. They work
Mhm.
from job to job. We see an advancement of AI and we talk about how AI can write your paper, but it can also do your job and now you're laid off. And
Mhm.
now it's to take your water too, and your water bill is up. Now you don't have water in your house, just like they had in, I think, Minnesota or Michigan, where a whole town, because of a data center, had to leave and it's a ghost town now.
Wow.
Wow.
And
Wow.
that's the difference, is this false idea that because certain things are easier and more convenient, that
Mhm.
it's easier in general. And that's not true. If anything, it's harder than ever, because back in the 70s or in the 80s, there weren't that many billionaires. There's 800 now.
Wow.
We have everything owned by P&E companies. We have every, if for instance, did you know that Cabela's and Bass Pro Shop are the same store?
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
owned by, yeah.
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 And that
Yeah.
is every corporation that you can look at is one of 4 companies.
Mhm.
And that's the issue, is that the generation who was the greatest generation ever sold us away to make a profit. And
I agree.
the biggest issue is Citizens United that we have right now. And I really hope we can tackle that, because that solves your Israel issue, that solves the issue of the housing crisis, that solves everything, because then they can't buy politics.
So, Will,
Well,
let me ask you a question, and I'm sorry, because you bring up some good stuff, and I'm really interested in these young persons. Um, what is our messaging? Because you're going for the same thing I'm running for, JP. So, what would you say our messaging for your generation? What does that look like?
For JP, it's hard because we don't directly impact the legislation that eventually leads to these things, right? But what my messaging has been is I see the impacts. And as a JP, I'm going to see even more impacts on my community because of this legislation, because of what's getting passed and down from the top, and I'm having to enact it or make my judgment on it. I am going to talk to those people at the top. I'm going to make sure that my relationship is good enough that I can get the message to them of how the people and their constituents are actually being affected. Because that's the disconnect. We got people in office that don't know what it's like to buy groceries because they haven't done it in 20 years. Mm-hmm. They don't know how to pump their own gas. They don't know what it is like to pack a school lunch and then go off to a 9 to 5 instead of having your nanny do it. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one thing that the right was really attacking Jasmine Crockett for, is she was using private jets. She was using this. She was using that. That's what they were going after, but Tallarico, they couldn't do it. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what we need to show them is while our struggles are different, we have different timelines of struggle. And I understand some things for me were easier, mm-hmm. and I understand those are more difficult now. We're to make it so that the opportunity is equal. And that still be the hard challenge. So my message is, your voice won't stop at my level. I was up at 3 a.m. last night texting Stephen Shook because I knew at that point that he was to be our next Democratic nomination for Congress. And I was like, well, you're in my district and I need to make sure that we can communicate.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, you know what? Basically, I think I agree with what you're saying. So we can agree and disagree on some things. I still think my generation was number one, and
Gen X.
we were the survival group. We showed y'all how to survive. Now, but I do agree with you because my children, they somewhat live at home, those that are not serving the military right now. But I'm like, that's the hardest thing, is to have a child that can't even afford to get out and they want to. So I agree with you. There has to be some type of affordable living on there. We got to do better about the people, because your generation, Will, you at the perfect age, because your generation is the one that's going to be leading me 30 years from now. Mm-hmm. I'm still going to be 21.
I'm going to be honest. If this was 3 decades ago, we would be leading you right now. How old was Joe Biden when he got into office? How old was Bernie Sanders when he held office? Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, is it's these generations that won't let go of power because they like to be in control.
Exactly. And that's why I think there needs to be an age limit and there needs to be a term limit. So I definitely agree with that, because
wholeheartedly,
you're not bringing in new ideas. You're still doing the same thing. And how is it that a certain group has been in charge for over 30 years and we don't see any improvement?
Or that the Democrats get the blame for it.
Yeah.
All day today, we got blamed for something that I can't make this stuff up. All day, even President Obama got blamed for something. The man hadn't even been in office in how many years? Mm-hmm. He's getting blamed for that. So it's like, I don't know. We need grown people working in these offices, and we need smart people that have some common sense and that can relate to the people. Because at the end of the day, I really feel like billionaires should not be in office, because you really don't understand what the people are going through. And at this point, it looks like you don't even care.
Yeah.
They don't.
What people are going through.
Yeah.
Because if I was president, I would really make sure I surround myself around with smart people and make sure that each one of my people can actually do the job. And I wouldn't get a 20, no offense to anybody that's in this situation, but I would not get a 22-year-old that has not had any type of life experience and have him in charge of something that's so massive that one false move can take a lot of people out.
Yep.
You
Well,
know,
what I love about what Will said, and that's the reason I asked him a question. I always, whenever I get a chance to ask a young person, is because one thing about my daughter's generation, Will's generation, that that really has me laughing is that you all have no problem challenging status quo.
Yeah.
It's like if we tell you it's red, why is it red? It's really that. And I mean, the conversation my daughter and I have, sometimes I'm like, because I said so, girl. She was like, that you do realize I'm grown now. I was like, yeah. I realize that. And so I love these conversations because we got to have those. Yes,
we
I
do
agree that there are persons who've been in office way too long because of their age, but there's no mentoring of bringing up a protege.
that part.
We gotta have. We keep talking about, well, yeah, the youth are our future for tomorrow. Okay, well, darn it, when we gonna start putting our hands on them? Because I tell students all the time, listen, it's amazing. I didn't grow up saying, you know what, I want to grow up to be a justice of the peace. I never grew up saying that. But yet, when you start researching and finding out, and I tell people, I said, I said, here's the interesting part, guys. I got a master's degree. You just got to have a high school diploma to be a justice of the peace. And they were like, "You kidding me?" I was like, "No," and they make good money. Now, of course, that's not my reason, my sole reason. You got to pay me for my time now, but that's not my sole reason for doing this.
Hey, no shame.
Hey, I'm just being real. But I love the fact. So anytime I'm given the opportunity to ask a person, young one, so because when I'm speaking to persons my age or maybe slightly a little younger than me, uh, we can relate because we have some history, regardless of our ethnicity. We have some history that we can revert back to. But like my daughter and my son and maybe Will your age, there are some things that happened when I was coming up through high school. Y'all didn't have to deal with that. So yes, time has evolved. And I like the fact that you said, "Hey, I agree, but yes, I disagree." Because you kind of talked, and I'm just gonna be honest with you. Don't get mad if you see some of the stuff that you said I'm gonna use. So I'm just letting you know you can laugh. Don't get upset because I liked it. But I love that. But that's because we got to talk to each other. You got to sit there and listen because, quite frankly, in this age, man, I'm getting ready to retire in November from my third position here. Uh, I'm almost on my way out the door. This is going to be the last full time position I have when I win this Justice of the Peace. I'm just going to be honest with you, and there's going to be somebody new who I'm going to try to mentor and protege to take over from when I leave and tell them, hey, this is how you run it, but it requires a conversation. So, man, I really appreciate you saying that. And I ain't lying to you. You laughing, but I'm gonna steal some of your stuff now. I'm just letting you know we ain't running
Oh,
against you.
it's the
So
biggest compliment I can take.
yeah. So
No, conversation is the most important thing because, look, time is the same for everyone and it catches up for everyone. So while we are growing and living in different time periods that happen to overlap, it doesn't mean that the issues that you're currently most concerned with aren't important to me also. It's just not at the moment.
Hmm. Wow, you know what? We're gonna have to wrap this up, but oh my goodness, I have to bring y'all back because this was like, okay, we're gonna have to do it like at 7 o'clock so I can get more time to talk to y'all because y'all hit on some points, and I'm like, Will, I really need to be picking your brain because it's interesting and not to be hitting at your age, but you 90 and 2000 models, y'all are completely different in how you think. And I love that about you.
We're the
I really,
generation of fact check it. So check your sources. That's what we were
yeah,
taught.
exactly. You know what? And y'all really good with technology. So I'm not bashing you. I'm just telling you, y'all are really good at technology because I'm telling you, it's like my 2000 models. I think they came out with an iPhone and they knew exactly how to work it. Before I did, I'm sitting up here like, what the heck? They know. So I appreciate everything that y'all do, Will. And I want your generation and the generation after you, I want y'all to continue on being a part of society and being a part of government because we need you.
Yep,
You
I agree.
know, And I'm going to give y'all. Dale, you have anything you want to say?
Oh, in terms of just closing out, sure.
Yeah, we're
Um,
gonna give them a minute, 2 minutes to speak before we shut it
yeah,
down.
sure. So I want to plug a couple of different entities. First, I'm going to plug Progressive Leaders Toastmasters. Progressive Leaders Toastmasters is a Toastmasters club where you don't have to worry about talking about democratic policies because everyone in the room is a Democrat. It's a nice opportunity to have the Toastmasters experience with like-minded individuals. You can look up Progressive Leaders Toastmasters on Facebook. We meet every single Monday at 7 p.m., both online and on Zoom. Next, I'll plug my campaign. I'm running for office for the position of Denton County Clerk, and that is the clerk of the Denton County Commissioners Court, and also the clerk of the county. So this is a role where I will be overseeing all the documentation, such as birth certificates, death certificates, marriage certificates, etc., along with helping out my friend Stephanie here, I essentially will be the secretary of Stephanie when she is a county commissioner, and I will essentially be the secretary of the courts as well. And the Denton County Commissioners Court's a very important role, and I'll let Stephanie talk a little bit more about that and why. But next, I'll pass it off to Chris Waddell. He is the vice president of the Frisco Democratic Club. Chris, do you want to introduce yourself and tell us about the Frisco Democratic Club and their events?
Sure. Like Dale said, I'm the vice president of the Frisco Democratic Club, and my job is, just to fill in when Dale's not available. But I do want to say I enjoyed the panel, and I think that you know, I enjoyed hearing everybody's perspective and what they're running for, and I do think that, like Will said, I think that more conversations like this are very important, and I think it helps, um, you know, give perspective on where people are coming from, and I think that can make a difference as to, especially for turnout. So I just want to say that, and anytime I have a chance to join these panels, I really enjoy it.
Well,
Awesome.
thank you. We're gonna bring Will on.
My name is Will Robertson, and I'm running for Justice of the Peace, Precinct 4 here in Denton County. I am grateful not only to be able to talk with all of you today and gain perspective and share perspective, but I'm thankful that you have stepped up to be a leader in your community, to right the wrongs that have happened, and to try to make a difference. Because it is a scary thing to do, to put yourself out there, to possibly have failure, but it is so worthy, and I hope that we continue to see a growing number of youth do the same thing, of veterans, and every walks of life, because that in America is the most important thing, is that we are all represented and we all feel welcomed and safe.
All right.
All right.
Oh, it's my turn. He just put me up. Huh? Hi, my name is Rodney Lee, and I'm running for Justice of the Peace, Precinct 4 in Tarrant County. Listen, guys, at the end of the day, the whole goal that I have is simply this: to serve the people beyond the bench, which is why conversation is so vitally important to me. And I want you to have the confidence in knowing, like Will, which I'm going to steal this, is that your voice will not stop with me. And I really do mean that. I understand what that means. And so if you choose me, and I pray that you do, then you will get somebody who is about serving you and not serving an agenda. So my name is Rodney Lee. You can go to my website. It's Rodney Lee for JOP at gmail. Or Rodney Lee for JOP.com. My email is Rodney Lee for JOP at gmail.com. I tell people all the time, email me because I guarantee you, I want to hear from you because a great ideal is only great when all of us can buy into it. And it's not great if I'm the only person thinking of it. So let's do this together. Rodney
All
Lee
right.
running for Justice of the Peace Precinct 4. Appreciate you.
All right. Well, I would like to say thank you all for coming on tonight. And I look forward to having you back on here. All of you invited to come back on here. Well, I might have to do a Zoom and have some candidates on there and then have it going to this streamline, because it's so very important to make sure that we get the word out and actually will talk to people and listen. So I look
Yes, ma'am.
forward to having you back on, Will. The door is open. Rodney will tell you, I let everybody come back on here, even Chris. Chris
Even me, even me.
he
Hey,
text me in the
Yeah.
middle of me doing something somewhere far off and text me and say, "Hey, I think I want to hop on tonight." That's the relationship we have. I'm like, okay, let me see. I'm not at home right now. I'm gonna have to start putting that link on my phone so I can pass it to you, Chris. But this should be the link that you can hop on, so don't lose it.
okay, I will not.
But thank y'all. Thank you, my co-host, for coming on here. And thank y'all, thank y'all. I know this is we can take a breath right now, and then we need to focus on how we're going to go into November election. Basically, I feel like, and yes, I am running for county commissioner, precinct 4 in Denton County, but what I really want to do is really just talk to people and see where their head is at. What do they want to have happen? Because it's their tax dollars that we're spending in their tax. They're our bosses. If we get
Yeah.
elected, they are the boss of us.
Yep.
And they're going to tell us what they want. So we need to be open and listen to them and maybe have more town halls and listen to what their concerns. But, I can say a lot of whole stuff, but I'm finna shut up because I'm tired. I've been screaming all day and I'm like, my voice is weak. For his arrest. But thank y'all again for coming on here. And congratulations to everyone who got nominated. That's a powerful thing. Thank you for
Yep.
your hard work and what you're going to be doing in the future. And once again, y'all are welcome to come on. Folks, this is for you. If you have been listening to Let's Talk About It Steph, because I've been looking at them numbers, subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. What I mean, I don't see y'all on Facebook. Go on to YouTube, look up Let's Talk About It Steph, and click subscribe, share, and like. Guess what? The more you do that, the more people we can reach. Okay. I love y'all. Thank y'all for y'all support. And we'll see y'all next week at 7 p.m. unless something happened and I'm stuck somewhere. Because I never know where I have to go. But Dale's here. I don't put you on blast, Dale. But thank y'all. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Y'all have a good night. Be safe. There's a storm out there. Y'all be safe. And we'll see Trisha later because she had to jump off. See
Okay.
y'all later.
All right,
Yeah.
guys.